out tonight. We ain't really worried about nothing, yo.
Alright guys, what's up? DrSwerve here, bringing you a little introduction video for our C# playlist. In this tutorial we're going to be going over basically the essential stuff, showing you the theories before we actually start writing the code, because it's important to know how and why we do things before we actually do them. Anyway, in C# you can write it in basically any compiler, but for what we're going to do, we're going to use Visual Studio, which is the most popular and really the easiest one. Really, that's the one you want to get. So go ahead and search Visual Studio 2012 into Google. There's multiple versions you can get, but as you see, these are like, I'm going to call them premium because I kind of forget the name of them. Anyway, you don't have to buy that. That's not important. Just go to this link right here, and there, well, I'm not going to wait for my slow internet to load it, but there will be something that's called Visual Studio Express for desktop. It will be a free download. Why did I just do that? Okay, it'll be a free download. So just go ahead, download that. It's going to be huge. It's probably going to take overnight, depending on your internet speed. And then open it up. And okay, sorry about this. I should have been prepared. I was actually trying to do this before, but I ran out of time. So that's why I'm talking fast. Anyway, first thing you want to do is you're going to want to start a new project. You can do that from the File tab or by just hitting New Project, and it'll bring all the stuff you can do in Visual Studio. So I'm going to take a second and go over what C++, C#, and Visual Basic are. Let me clear your thing that's going through your head right now. C# and C++ are extremely different in every way possible. Not every way. Syntax is kind of similar, but yeah. Visual Basic and C#, C#, not, I was trying to mix C++ and C#, blah. Visual Basic and C#, they speak to something called the .NET framework, which comes on every computer, every Windows computer, my bad. Basically, it makes coding much easier. It's, when you write something in C# and it executes, it tells the .NET framework, which tells the operating system to do something. Unlike C++, which is harder and more confusing, and it speaks directly to the operating system, which allows it to run on any machine. Pretty much, you know, there's some other variables you have to take into account, but C++ you can run on any machine. C# and Visual Basic you can run on any machine that has a .NET framework installed, which is, you know, Windows. So let's go ahead and open up, click on our C# thing here. You will have the option to choose any of these things. The main things you're going to deal with are class files, which aren't actually programs, they're just class files. Console application, which is something like this nice little dialogue. Or Windows Form application, which is actual GUI, like something like what this is right here. I always like to start off with console applications, but I'm going to show you how, actually no, we're do Windows Form application a bit. So go ahead, start your console application. It'll automatically generate some code here, some essential stuff that you pretty much need. Alright, so let's get you familiar with Visual Studio itself. Up here you can obviously what you're working on. Console application file, which is the name of my file. I should have named it something else, but a little bit late for that. Toolbox. This is for when you get into this right here, your GUI. All this stuff here. View. When you're working with GUI, you can switch from the designer to the code view. All this stuff is, you're not going to have to worry about this right away. Project, this is kind of important. You're going to need to add a Windows form. So, say you wanted, this is more kind of like, no, I should have just picked that to begin with. Say you had a Windows form and you wanted to have two forms and you just wanted to click the one and the other one would pop up. You would need to add another form like this, and that way you would have two of them. And the way you find your forms is right here via the Solution Explorer. This is your project. This is your properties, which is generated. You don't really have to mess with that. References, you don't have to mess with that yet. This is like if you wanted to import something like an API or something like that. You could reference that and then use it in your code, like a DLL. Config, that's not really anything you're going to want to mess with. This, however, this is your what I'm actually on right now. This is your actual program. And if I added another one, if I added another class, that would be here. That would, see, told you I cannot talk. Did I say that? Did I say I was sick? I'm sick. I don't know if I said that or not, but I've been sick for like a week. I'm just kind of talking and rambling on. Yeah, so that would be there. You can switch between the two. And, yeah, you'll get used to that, don't worry. Debug. This is pretty much running your application so that you don't actually have to build it and then go find the program and then double click it and all that stuff. You can just run it from here and test it. So, let's say oops. There. See, I debug it, and there. Test. Yeah, we're getting to writing code in the next tutorial. So that's debugging. Build is actually compiling your program into an executable, which you can find in the bin. I'll explain more about that later. Where is this at? Tools, test, window. Yeah, you don't have to mess with that stuff really. These two things right here are kind of handy. Say you had a bunch of code that you didn't want. Like you still wanted it, but you didn't want to execute it. So I had all of this here, but I didn't actually want the program to execute it, but I didn't want to delete it. So that I would just comment it out, kind of like that. A comment, which I'll get into in another tutorial, is say I had all of this code and it actually was something meaningful and I want to remember how it is. I could say this code is for hatching an egg. So I could look at it and be like, oh yeah, and the compiler will completely ignore this. So it's just kind of like a little handy note for yourself. Save all, new project, open file, navigate back, forward, undo, redo. You can debug your program so you can test it for programs or for computers that have a lower CPU, so you can make sure your program will run correctly on older computers and faster computers, which is kind of really useful, believe it or not. Where else? Oh, here, errors. Say I was typing and see how I forgot the L there? It will be like the name Sonsel. The name Sonsel does not exist. You can be like, oh, I was supposed to be console, and it'll tell you that. Oh, everything is case sensitive too. Don't forget that. All case sensitive. Oh, what else? I think that's gonna be it for this. I will catch you guys in the next video.